In the quiet town of Greenwood, nestled amidst rolling hills and lush forests, there stood a quaint and beautiful church known as St. Michael's. This church had been the heart and soul of the community for generations, a place where people found solace, hope, and redemption. However, in every peaceful haven, there is a storm lurking, and in Greenwood, that storm was Samuel Price. Samuel was a man plagued by bitterness and jealousy. He had grown up in the shadow of St. Michael's, watching as his family showered praise upon the church and its faithful congregation. His parents had been devout parishioners, and his sister, Sarah, had even sung in the church choir. He was never as religious as his family, and his choices often veered away from the virtuous path they had carved for themselves. As the years passed, Samuel's bitterness grew into a festering wound. He couldn't stand the adoration that townsfolk held for St. Michael's and its pastor, Reverend Thomas. Samuel believed that the church had robbed him of his family's affection, and he blamed Reverend Thomas for it all. Reverend Thomas was a black man with so much influence and he was loved by all, but Samuel was not happy about it because of his prejudice to black people. He convinced himself that the pastor had brainwashed his family, turning them away from him. One sweltering summer afternoon, as Samuel brooded in his dimly lit apartment, a malevolent idea began to take root in his mind. He would burn down St. Michael's Church, he thought, believing that in its destruction, he would finally gain some semblance of revenge and satisfaction. Samuel would strike during the dead of night when the church was empty, using a stash of gasoline he had acquired without anyone suspecting a thing. On a particularly ominous night, Samuel set his plan into motion. The darkness of the night was his ally as he doused the walls of the church with gasoline, leaving a trail leading towards the sanctuary. He lit a match, watching the flame flicker and dance. However, a gust of wind swept through the churchyard, extinguishing the flame. But the night seemed to conspire against him, blowing out match after match, as if the very universe were determined to thwart his wicked plan. In his frantic state, he accidentally dropped the box of matches, spilling them all over the ground. Panic overcame him, and he fled into the darkness, leaving the fiery disaster behind. Minutes later, the church erupted in flames, the inferno consuming everything in its path. The blaze illuminated the night sky, casting an eerie glow over the entire town. Soon, the wailing sirens of fire trucks pierced the air, and the townspeople rushed to the scene, their hearts heavy with grief and disbelief. Among the crowd that had gathered was Samuel's sister, Sarah, tears streaming down her face as she watched the church burn. She had heard rumors of her brother's jealousy and hatred towards the church, and she couldn't help but fear that he had played a role in this horrific act. As the firefighters battled the blaze, the entire town mourned the loss of St. Michael's Church. The place that had been a source of strength and unity for generations had been reduced to smoldering ruins. In the days that followed, the police conducted a thorough investigation into the fire's cause. Samuel, filled with guilt and remorse, watched the events unfold from the shadows. He had narrowly escaped being caught at the scene, but he knew it was only a matter of time before the authorities closed in on him. Sarah, torn between her loyalty to her family and her love for the church, finally decided to confront her brother. Her heart ached as she saw the fear and desperation in his eyes. "Samuel," she said softly, "you need to turn yourself in. What you've done is unforgivable." Samuel, tears streaming down his face, confessed to his sister. He told her everything: the jealousy, the bitterness, and the twisted plot to burn down St. Michael's Church. "I just wanted to hurt the church, to make them feel the pain I've felt all these years." Sarah, torn between love for her brother and her loyalty to the church, made a difficult decision. She would help Samuel turn himself in, convinced that he needed to face the consequences of his actions. The following day, they went to the police station together, where Samuel confessed to the arson. The town was shocked to learn that one of their own had been responsible for the destruction of their beloved church. The courtroom was filled with anger and sorrow as Samuel was sentenced to prison for his crimes. The community began the process of rebuilding St. Michael's Church. It was a long and arduous journey, but their faith and determination remained unshaken. Reverend Thomas preached forgiveness and love, emphasizing the importance of healing and moving forward. Over the years, Samuel found himself reflecting on his actions from behind prison bars. He came to understand the depth of his jealousy and the pain it had caused not only himself but also those around him. In Greenwood, the wounds caused by Samuel's actions began to heal. The rebuilt St. Michael's Church stood as a symbol of resilience and unity, a testament to the strength of the community's faith. Years passed, and Samuel was eventually released from prison, a changed man. He returned to Greenwood, humbled and contrite. Sarah, having found forgiveness in her heart, welcomed her brother back with open arms. Samuel's return to Greenwood was met with mixed emotions. While some members of the community were willing to forgive him and support his journey of redemption, others remained skeptical. He worked tirelessly to help the community, whether it was assisting with church events or volunteering at local charities. His transformation was gradual but genuine. As the seasons changed, Samuel continued to rebuild his life and relationships. He became an integral part of the community, working closely with Reverend Thomas to foster unity and healing among the congregation. One of their most significant initiatives was a community outreach program that aimed to help families in need. Samuel, drawing from his own experiences, was passionate about offering support and guidance to those who felt lost or overwhelmed. His story of transformation served as an inspiration to many, and he dedicated his time to mentoring troubled youth, helping them find their way back from destructive paths. As Samuel continued to rebuild his life, he also reconnected with his family. His parents, who had initially struggled with the shame and guilt of their son's actions, came to understand the depth of his transformation. They welcomed him back into their lives with open arms, recognizing the genuine remorse he felt for his past actions. Sarah, now married, also found solace in her brother's transformation. The strained relationship that had once existed between them had evolved into one of trust and unconditional love. Reverend Thomas continued to lead the congregation, emphasizing the importance of forgiveness and the power of second chances. In the end, Samuel's journey had not only transformed him but had also brought about a profound change in the town of Greenwood. It was a story of hope, forgiveness, and the enduring belief that, with time and effort, even the most broken of souls could find their way back to the light.